An enthralling conclusion is on the cards at Edgbaston after Somerset's Nick Compton and Joss Butler blasted a sixth-wicket partnership of 167 before an undefeated half-century from Warwickshire's William Porterfield kept everybody guessing going into the final day of this LV County Championship contest. Warwickshire had the edge as day 3 got underway, and Chris Wright wasted no time in getting shot of the night watchman George Dockrell with a bumper which the Irishman gloved to Porterfield. That left Somerset on 131 for 5 with a lead of just 35, and Warwickshire may well have wrapped up this match with a day to spare had Jim Troughton not dropped an easy chance off Butler when he was on only 7. It proved to be a very expensive mistake, as Butler then did what he does best, and that's forcing the pace with some exquisite stroke play. There are a few better spectacles in the domestic game than watching Butler play with such freedom. He knew that if he could keep going to give Warwickshire something to think about when they had to bat last, then his side would still have a real chance in this match, even though they conceded a first innings lead of 96. Butler was helped by Compton, who started this season in fine form. His innings on the previous day had brought his side back into this match, and after going again on 61, he was soon heading towards his 100, having made 99 in the win over Middlesex in Taunton last week. With him nestled in the 90s once more, Butler continued to make Troughton pay for his miss by slog-sweeping Jeetan Patel for a big 6. And Compton was not to be denied this time. On 99 again, he guided a ball from Neil Carter to the fence to take him to 3 figures for the 13th time in his career. His relief was evident. He'd been at the crease for some time again and reached his century off his 189th delivery, that being his 13th 4. A fine knock indeed. At this point, he'd been the only player to have posted even a half-century in this match, but he was now joined in that by Butler, who struck Patel for 2 successive boundaries to go to his 50 from 68 balls. Each and every run must have wounded the Warwickshire captain, especially as this stand was now putting Somerset firmly on top. And this pair were by no means finished yet. The 21-year-old Butler, who was almost unheard of a couple of seasons ago, continued to reel off some special shots. It was becoming an eye-catching innings as he rarely missed any opportunity to score boundaries. Had he stayed in for another half hour or so, then the target for Warwickshire may have been out of reach. As Butler moved into the 90s, his partnership with Compton went on to 167 made in 42 overs, far and away the best of an otherwise low-scoring match. So it was with some relief for Warwickshire when he was out 7 short of his 3rd first-class 100. Trying to turn right to leg, he was struck on the pads and headed off. Somerset were then unable to take full advantage of that stand. In the next over, Peter Trigo drove over a ball from Carter and was bowled for 4. And Compton's 5.5-hour knock was ended by Wright on 133, as Somerset lost 3 wickets for 5 runs in 11 balls to let Warwickshire back in. At this stage, with Somerset on 303 for 8, they led by 207, and so were thankful to Adam Dibble for his sprightly innings. After pulling Carter for a maximum, he took on the rest, especially Patel, who he started to hit to all parts. Dibble is another of the many young talents at Somerset, which also includes the likes of Craig Macheda and Lewis Gregory. Of course, he is nicknamed Officer, and he arrested the slide as he and Vernon Philander added a more than useful 51 runs for the 9th wicket. Philander's knock was brought to an end, somewhat ironically, by a superb catch in the deep by Troughton. The South African had made 8. And he was followed back to the pavilion by Dibble 2 balls later, as he swung and missed a delivery from Ricky Clark to go for an enterprising 43. Somerset were all out for 354, and that set Warwickshire a testing target of 259 to win their opening game of the summer. In a positive move, they promoted the hard-hitting Carter to the top of the order to take on the new ball, and for a while it was a policy which worked well. He took a liking in particular to the bowling of Steve Kirby, who won't have had too many opening bats come after him in this way. He also soon launched into Dockrell when he came into the attack. The young spinner, who bowled Somerset to a win over Middlesex last week, quickly got his revenge though, as Carter drove out of the rough and found Butler to go for 26. Kirby was then brought back on and he removed Varun Chopra, who mistimed a hook shot to be caught by Craig Kieswetter behind the stumps. With Warwickshire now on 43 for 2, it was Somerset who had the edge in this game, which has ebbed and flowed throughout. Had they been able to grab a couple more wickets before the close, then they would have sensed a victory themselves, but as it was, they were held up by Porterfield, who put in one of the better performances for his county. With Ian Westwood, a virtual spectator at the other end, Porterfield played some delicious and classical strokes to keep his side very much in this contest. He completed a fine 50 before the close, reaching it with his 8th 4 from his 89th delivery. It could yet be the innings which takes his side home to start that campaign with a win, having come so close to lifting the championship trophy last year. Porterfield was still there at the end and still looking good. He finished the day on 57 and has now given his side a real chance of victory. Warwickshire will resume on a fascinating final day on 123 for 2, needing a further 136 runs to defeat Somerset again. After losing money on the Grand National, I certainly won't be having a bet on the outcome of this thriller.